The Hamas terrorist invasion of Israeli territory, and the murder of Israeli soldiers today, and the brutal murder of citizens is an act of savagery that must and will be crushed. It has to be dealt with very powerfully.
Donald Trump is yet again posting on Truth Social and announcing at rallies that he brought peace to the Middle East, and now that his presidency is over, that chaos is ensuing in Gaza with Hamas and Israel, and that he predicted that this would happen. So let's just talk about what Donald Trump actually did during his presidency to bring about peace. And let's remember his idea of peace, or no war, as he claims, is to side with terrorists, is to side with autocrats and dictators, to befriend Kim Jong or President Xi Jinping or Vladimir Putin, countries that traditionally are foes of the United States, to befriend them despite their human rights atrocities and their terrorist activities. And this is something that Donald Trump has never really been asked. Why do you want to be friends with Vladimir Putin if he just kills people when they don't agree with him? He never really has been put on the spot for stuff like that. And this is what's important about the international community, is that you do not side with terrorists. Well, let's just go back to these so-called Abraham Accords, as he so blatantly branded these peace deals that he talked about, which of course were never really peace deals because they were between countries that were not at war. They did not have conflict. These were peaceful nations who were already doing business with each other. So think back to September 2020. Trump heralded the dawn of a new Middle East. Standing at the White House, he announced pivotal diplomatic agreements between Israel and its Gulf Arab neighbors, Bahrain and the United Arab Emirates. He said, following decades of division and conflict, not really true, Trump declared, flanked by regional leaders in a moment featured in subsequent campaign ads, the Abraham Accords were initiating the groundwork for a comprehensive peace across the entire region, he said. Well, meanwhile, here we are, 4 years later. The aspiration for such peace remains distant, particularly concerning the enduring conflict between Israel and the Palestinians, which were not mentioned in the Abraham Accords. He conveniently ignored the plight of Palestinians and the struggle for territory in Gaza and Israel. The region, as we know, is now witnessing a resurgence of violence, a war declared by Benjamin Netanyahu, casting renewed scrutiny on Donald Trump's approach to bringing lasting peace to the Middle East. Well, Trump's strategy revolved around circumventing the challenge of de-escalating tensions between Israel and the Palestinians. Instead, he focused on fostering stronger bonds between Israel and certain Sunni Arab states, primarily driven by their mutual apprehensions about Iran. As we know, Hezbollah, supported by Iran, Hamas, supported by Russia. You could argue that Vladimir Putin has his fingerprints all over this war in Gaza right now. And of course, Putin is somebody that Donald Trump sees as a close ally. The accords negotiated under Trump were widely interpreted as a signal of waning support from some of Israel's Arab neighbors for the Palestinians. Well, this shift provided Benjamin Netanyahu greater flexibility to pursue approaches that escalated tensions between Israelis and Palestinians. And let's not forget, Netanyahu has never really been looking for a peace deal. His job is to protect Israelis and Israeli Jews. There really has been no route to finding any kind of peace or agreement about this territory. Jared Kushner, former White House senior advisor and son-in-law of Donald Trump, is now facing criticism following the Hamas attack. The critique centers on his efforts to enhance diplomatic relations between Israel and Arab nations, along with allegations regarding his connections to Saudi Arabia. I remind you, the Abraham Accords did not mention Palestine or Palestinians. So bringing peace to the Middle East is a branding exercise. It's a photo opportunity, but it didn't actually go anywhere close to resolving the issues that the Middle East was seeing. In September 2020, the Abraham Accords were established between Israel and Bahrain, and later the UAE, with the aim of normalizing relations to address persistent tensions involving Arab nations. Morocco and Sudan also joined the diplomatic effort. Morocco, Sudan. Are these countries you ever hear talking about being in conflict with Israel? Absolutely not. Again, a performative exercise designed for photo opportunity to see Trump and Kushner and Ivanka doing deals, signing documents, but very light on detail and not really doing anything to address the key issues in the Middle East. Kushner's involvement in the Abraham Accords and his close ties to Gulf nations like Saudi Arabia, which had not signed the agreement, have come under intense scrutiny on various social media platforms and in the news. Kushner, who's married to Ivanka, former president's daughter, is currently involved in running the private equity fund Affinity Partners. Notably, the fund received $2 billion of investment from a fund led by Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman 6 months after Donald Trump's departure from the White House. And recent reports from the New York Times reveal substantial investments made by the UAE and Qatar into Kushner's private equity firm, further fueling accusations of potential classified intelligence exchange with Mohammed bin Salman, allegations the Crown Prince has vehemently denied. In his book, Breaking History, a White House memoir, Kushner highlighted the positive impact of Saudi reforms, particularly for women and the region's overall progress. Well, as we've now seen, much of this has now been reversed. I mean, look at Afghanistan, now under the control of the Taliban. Women losing their rights as quickly as they gained them. The recent attack by Hamas has resulted in a tragic loss of life on both sides, prompting a strong response from Israel, vowing that they will change the face of Gaza and destroy Hamas. Meanwhile, frightened residents of Gaza have described bombardments striking residential buildings, hospitals and schools across the enclave amid growing concern over destruction of civilian infrastructure as Israel pledges to enforce a full siege. Donald Trump never brought peace to the Middle East. Donald Trump put himself at the center of a photo op so that now, several years later, he would be able to use that visual, knowing that it would be likely that there would be conflict in this region, and say, nothing to do with me. When actually, if you look carefully, you'll see that this has everything to do with Donald Trump. I'm Anthony Davis. You can hear me every day on the 5-Minute News podcast. Download it wherever you get yours and have me tell you what's happening around the world while you make your morning coffee. You can also catch my videos, my explainer videos, and my weekend show long-form interview program here on the 5-Minute News YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe, but also don't forget to join. And by clicking join, from just $2.99 a month, you can become part of the 5-Minute News community. Join me for live Q&As and communicate with me whenever you like as an exclusive member of 5-Minute News.